Listen, what I'm about to tell you isn't comforting. It's not inspirational, and it won't leave you the same. You're about to meet someone who believed that understanding suffering wasn't enough. It had to be embodied. It had to sink into the body. And if it hurt, then it was real. Simone Weil. Don't study her. Don't admire her. Endure her, if you can. I wasn't looking for her, and she never asked to be found. Simone Weil doesn't speak to you. She cuts through you. One sentence from her, and I realized that philosophy wasn't about thinking better. It was about stopping the lies I told myself. Thought, that doesn't hurt, is useless. It wasn't a metaphor. It was a warning. Simone didn't explain the world. She inhabited it. And if it hurt, she went deeper. She worked in factories, gave up her privileges, and when the war came, she refused to eat more than those who were suffering. She died for coherence, and that made her into something frightening, a living truth. This isn't a video about her. It's about what happens when a conscience like hers touches you and doesn't leave. Simone Weil was born in 1909 in Paris, a fragile child, sick from early on, but with a mind that didn't wait to grow up to understand what was unbearable. She learned Greek before turning 10. She argued ideas like someone who had lived for centuries. But that's not what hurt. The pain came from something else. At 6 years old, she refused to eat sugar. Why? Because soldiers on the front didn't have it. So she didn't want it either. What kind of child turns down something sweet out of loyalty to strangers? Who's born with that kind of weight? Where did you get that sensitivity, Simone? Is it a gift or a sentence? Because while other children cried for not being allowed to play, you cried because people out there had no bread. You cried for those suffering far away, as if they lived inside you. Did you ever feel alone in that? Did you ever look around, watching everyone live without asking questions and think, I don't belong in this world? Because that feeling, that mismatch, that premature clarity was going to follow you for life. Your parents gave you books, education, love, but you were already walking towards something else, a kind of ethics that didn't fit, a coherence so fierce that not even your own body would be able to hold it. You became a teacher, Simone, a brilliant one. Your students admired you. Your colleagues respected you. You had everything you needed to stay there, surrounded by books, concepts, ideas that don't get your hands dirty. But something in you resisted, as if that place wasn't enough. As if teaching from a place of safety was just another form of betrayal. Is that what you felt? That thinking without living it was just another way to lie? In 1934, at only 25 years old, you decided to enter a factory, not as a visitor, not to do sociological research, not to write a novel, to work as one of them. As if your body needed to suffer so your conscience could be at peace. Standing shifts, 8, 10, 12 hours. Smoke, noise, grease, misery. Co-workers who couldn't understand why such a strange woman was among them. And you, silent, taking notes, watching, living. Simone, what were you hoping to find there? Redemption? Truth? A way to silence the guilt of having been born on the comfortable side of the world? You wrote, work kills the soul before it kills the body. And yet, you didn't run. You didn't turn the experience into a show. You didn't write a book to tell the world. You just lived it. You took it in, and you let it act upon you like a corrosive substance. Because you knew that thinking, if it doesn't pass through the body, isn't really thinking. It's escape. And I ask myself, could I do that? Could anyone? to come down and feel without distance, without safety nets. Did you really believe, Simone, that we can't look at the suffering of others from a place of comfort without becoming complicit? The war broke out, and with it, everything fractured. Europe trembled. Reason went into hiding. And you, Simone, instead of hiding, you kept thinking. And you thought the way only you could, with a logic that doesn't save, with an ethic that doesn't forgive. And you made a decision that very few could even imagine. I can't eat more than a French person under occupation. That's what you said. And that's what you did. Even if you were far away. Even if your plate was full. Even if no one asked you to. Why, Simone? Who dictated that measure to you? How do you reach a point where you can't even swallow without feeling guilty? You began to restrict yourself. First it was bread, then milk, then almost nothing. You barely slept. Everything hurt. But you kept writing, always writing, as if the only thing holding you together was that invisible line between thought and action. And if that line broke, everything in you broke with it. Doctors said tuberculosis, malnutrition, collapse. But no, it was something else. It wasn't the body, it was fidelity. Your body was just the consequence. The decision had come before. It was ethical. It was absolute. Simone, did you not want to live? Didn't you feel that your presence in the world could still be of use, even if you weren't completely coherent? Or was it that, for you, staying alive without obeying your conscience was just a slower kind of death? Because you didn't commit suicide. You didn't turn your death into a performance. You simply couldn't keep living with privileges knowing others had none. And that's what no one says. No one talks like that. No one lives like that. But you did. In silence. Without asking for anything. Without demanding to be understood. And now I hear you. And I don't know whether to admire you or fear you. Because your example can't be applauded without shame. It can't be looked at without feeling exposed. After your death, no one knew what to do with you, Simone. There was no ceremony, no praise, no country claiming you, no church, no ideology that could adopt you without collapsing in contradiction. You were too uncomfortable, too coherent, too hard to use. You didn't fit. Not in life, not in death. Your writings were fragments, notebooks, letters, thoughts that never asked for fame, words thrown into the void by someone who didn't want to be heard, only to be faithful to what she saw. And yet, those words began to move, to spread, to remain. Did you know, Simone? Did you ever imagine that someday in another time someone without a face, someone like me, would read you in the middle of the night with a tight stomach and a trembling conscience? You didn't leave a school of thought. You didn't leave dogmas. You didn't leave a method. You only left questions. Questions like blades. Questions that don't close, that stay with you. How much of who I am is built on comfort? What does it cost to live without looking at someone else's pain? Am I willing to feel until it hurts, or just until it's inconvenient? Simone, you didn't come to save us, or to guide us, or to enlighten us. You came to disturb us, to show us that there's a way of living that doesn't seek applause, only integrity. And that possibility alone is already transformative, because after you, it becomes impossible to keep living with the same level of self-deception. The unbearable thing about lucidity isn't seeing. It's not being able to unsee. After encountering Simone, understanding is no longer enough. Thinking is no longer a refuge. Reading is no longer an excuse, because now you know there's another way of being in the world. one that doesn't negotiate, that doesn't soften, that doesn't adapt. And once you know that, you can't pretend ignorance anymore. Simone Weil wasn't a symbol. She was a test that lucidity doesn't always save. Sometimes it just burns. I don't know if I could live like her. I don't know if anyone can. Maybe no one should. Maybe her level of coherence was so brutal that it burned everything in its path, including herself. But what I can't do, what I no longer can do, is go on acting as if I hadn't heard her. Because now I have. Now I've felt her. And even if I can't follow her, I can't go back. Maybe philosophy isn't about understanding the world. Maybe it's about not lying to yourself, about putting your body where only ideas used to be, about looking where it hurts, and staying a little longer. And if that's true, then Simone Weil was not a figure. She was a test that lucidity doesn't always save. Sometimes it just burns. There is no greater freedom than refusing to look away,